Welcome back to the show. Tough times never last, but tough people do, and you're one of those tough people. You're going to get through your tough times. We've got a very tough bloke on the couch and also a tough chick, Alita Howe. This is George Knowles. Lost his daughter, God bless him, and then says he got framed, ready for a trial for some very serious offences, but one day before the trial he takes off to Queensland. George, tell us about that. That's interesting, mate. You must have spoken to your legal team and they said you're going down on this.
Well, they said to me that it's going to be very, very hard to win this case with that blood on the cap. And Simon and Gillespie Jones and Gary Williams knew that they put it there. I was never identified by the people that robbed as one of the bandits. Anyway, the day before the trial, I signed the book at the Preston Police Station and I thought, I'm not going to jail for something I never done. So I jumped on a plane, disguised myself, and I flew to Coolangatta. So I went from being George Thomas Knoll to Robert John Hayes. So for the next 2 years, I worked as a plaster's labourer. I worked at the Southport Football Club for 2 years as Bobby Hayes. I used to put all the boys through the boxing, through the punches at the boxing ring there, and I was also Mark Browning's assistant on the day that we played football. Mark was a great footballer for South Melbourne, a great guy too, but these people only knew me as Bobby Hayes. They'll know now that who I really am, but I had a great 2 years there with those guys.
Did you communicate with your family while you were there?
Yes, I used to. I used to ring my daughter and I'd come down on the bus, on the Greyhound bus, and I'd meet them at the cemetery. And then they'd put me in the boot of the car and I'd go and see my poor old dad who was in his 90s. I'd stay with him for a few hours and told him that, Dad, one day I'll come back and I'll hand myself in and we'll sort this out, but now's not the time.
How did you get caught, George?
Well, after I've been approximately up there on the Gold Coast for 2 years, and I said to Les Wilson and then Joe Bugner, who were Aussie Joe Bugner, who were training the boys at the time. Joe was training himself, that I had to go back to Melbourne. I said, I told Mark Browning, I said, I've got to go back. I said, I've got to go back to Sydney, and I thought I came from Sydney, but I was really coming back to Melbourne. I'll be back. But what happened was I got on the bus, came back, and I rang my girlfriend from Albury when the bus stopped. I said, look, I'm not going to go back to Queensland, I'm going to hand myself in. But her phone was tapped, bugged, and so it took the icing off the cake. When I got back, the police were waiting for me. 4 carloads, same thing on the ground, whack over there with the shotgun and back down to St Kilda Road. Anyway, but no Bolton like last time. The time before I was in hospital for, as I said, I was in hospital for 3 weeks. Anyway, the trial continued, and Frank Vincent said after, I was in custody for 33 months before the trial started, and Frank Vincent said, if you aren't ready to go ahead with this case, I'm releasing him. You got 2 weeks. He said, this man's been in custody for 33 months. He's innocent until proven guilty. What if he's innocent? 10 days later, the trial started. Anyway, by the grace of God, I was found not guilty of attempted murder, but unfortunately I was found guilty of the other charges of 3 counts of unlawful detention and armed robbery, which I was not guilty of. I was sentenced to 7.5 years by Chief Justice John Coldry with a 5.5 year minimum. Yeah, and times were really tough. It was tough for my family.
George, when they had you in there for 33 months, was it in the remand centre?
In the remand centre in Spencer Street, yeah.
For almost 3 years?
Nearly 3 years in custody.
So all up, George, about 8 years for this whole...
27 appearances in the Supreme Court in Melbourne.
About 8 years for this whole incident, huh?
Well, virtually. You know, I had 2 years away, and 5.5 years I served. So there's 7.5 years away from my family.
And you're saying had nothing to do with it?
I was
wrong
never
person.
ever on that property, ever. Never ever on that property, no.
So, George, the only evidence they had...
Was that blood on the cap?
The only one was the...
That corrupt officer put there.
That was it, yeah.
So what do you then say about the legal system?
Well, halfway through my trial, I'd run out of money, and I had to instruct myself from the dock. And because I kept sending messages to my QC, Simon Gillespie Jones, Chief Justice John Coldry said, he stopped the trial and he said, look, you can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing this because legal aid only supported you with so much, see? And then the money ran out, so I had to instruct myself. So he said the jury's going to take reference or inference that we favour the accused because he's allowed to give messages to his counsel. So they decided that they'll fund us more money, and I was able to reinstate Gary Woodhams, who was my instructing solicitor and has been for a friend of the family for over 30 years. And anyway, as I said, the jury found me not guilty of the attempted murder, but guilty of the other charges, unfortunately.
George, did you keep on boxing when you were in prison?
Yeah, I did. I used to teach the boys, you know, we had a big box room in Spencer Street, and I used to teach all the young fellas there, and the boys, we had the Victorian Amateur Boxing Association came in. We had 15 bouts there one day, all done under proper conditions. It was a great day, you know, great for all the young fellas.
So you made the most of prison time.
I've got that on tape, actually.
Have you?
It'll be on the. We might call it ringside on the inside and donate to the money of the Children's Hospital. I think people would like to see it.
That's a great idea. Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah, times are tough. It's been a rough road for myself and my family and my children. We've had a lot of hurdles in our life, but
you got through it okay.
We'll just keep punching.
Good on you, mate. Good on you. Well, thank you very much for sharing that wonderful story, mate. God bless you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Alita Howe, and thank you very much, viewers, for watching. Yeah, have a really good week. Have some fun on the weekend, and remember, tough times never last. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and remember, you're in charge of your own happiness. So smile a bit more tomorrow and reach out to others. God bless, and love and best wishes to everyone. Good night.